Hello and welcome again to the show. My name is David Dadakian with Eat, Drink, Rhode Island, and with me today is the executive chef of the Newport Vineyards property, which encompasses a lot of things we're going to talk about. Welcome, Chef Andy Teixeira. How are you, Andy?
I'm well, Dave. How are you?
Doing okay. It's nice to see your face.
Nice to be seen. Good to see you.
Nice to see a little bit of the winery behind you there.
Yeah, we're here. We're making some wine and trying to cook some food and keep things rolling.
Right. Well, I am a big fan of what you've built there the last few years, and it's beautiful to see, and the building's beautiful, as well. Aside, cheers to the family, the News family that has built that beautiful facility there that you get to play in.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's been a match made in heaven. We've really been enjoying my time here, and working for the Noons is quite special.
Yeah, that's great. No, so I've conversationally over the years, bits and pieces, but tell everyone where you come from, your background, and how you ended up where you are today.
All right. Yeah. Well, I am a fourth generation chef. I've born and raised in a kitchen. It's all I know how to do, and it's all I really love to do besides, spending time with the wife and kids. I've been, I was 5 years old and I was brought into the bakery to tie knot rolls and egg wash, and my hands weren't big enough to shape rolls yet, but I would count and put in bags and, stand on a 5-gallon bucket. And my dad bought a place when I was about 12. And I started in there, and, worked my way through. And when I was about 16 and you think you know everything, I thought I could go out and do it on my own at 16. And Dad, encouraged me to do that. And it was probably one of the best things that happened. I got to get pulled under some really good chefs that brought me under their wing and showed me the ways. I got to work with some talented people and up through Boston and that area, and really got to find myself in the culinary world and define what I was doing. And it's been a treat. I was at a private country club for the last 10 years before coming to the vineyard, and country club life is nice for a chef. You have to have some thick skin, but quality of life for my family. I had started a family, and my wife, Emily, and my, 2 kids, Serena and Wade. We wanted to, country club life worked for us. It was, home by 9 o'clock at night. Winters were very, very nice. Summer was a grind, but it was nice. My wife wasn't really thrilled with the treatment a club chef got. And so she put my resume on Indeed without me knowing.
Right. You've told me this. It's a great story.
Yeah. And Trisha Green had started following me through the vineyard and saw my resume on Indeed and started following me on Instagram and Facebook and through social media. And she was following me, and I was posting like crazy, really just dialing in the food at the vineyard. Lo and behold, it was all prep work to take this place over. But really, dialing in farm food, making all our bread, going back to my roots of being a baker, really, really just pushing the food as far as I could at a country club. And then a little backstory, we always beached in Newport. I was born and raised in Taunton, Mass. And going to the Cape was impossible as a kid. So we always beached in Newport. So when I started my family, we used to go to the beach in Newport. And then I'd be driving by the vineyard and seeing them doing the construction on the vineyard. And I was always drawn to the place. And my wife was like, "You're not even really a drinker. Why are you so drawn to that place?" I don't know. It's just cool. I want to go in there. And never went in there. Well, then I got the email from Trisha Green saying that she had been following me and would love to talk to me. Well, my wife got the email because she was monitoring. And Emily said, "You're never going to guess who just reached out to you. The place you're always saying you want to go into." And so Trisha and I had a couple of really good phone conversations, and I came and toured the place that was still wrapped in plastic, had 2 kitchens still wrapped in plastic. And they said, "You can do whatever you want here. Just, make great food and have fun." And I couldn't refuse. I mean, it's a chef's dream come true.
Right. Yeah.
And they told me they wanted farm to table and they wanted scratch cooking. And I said, "Are you sure that's, what you want? Because if we do this, we're going to go 100% all the way. Like, say goodbye to avocado, say goodbye to, some things, tomatoes in the winter. We're going to do this the right way and really have fun with it." And we've been doing that ever since. And slowly but surely, we integrated a bakery, and we have a pastry department. And my proudest accomplishment here is our intern program that we started here. We partnered up with Johnson and Wales and made some great relationships with them, and started having interns come through it. I've built my team of 30 plus pretty much through that program. Hired a couple of good kids right out of school, and then, slowly but surely grew the program, and, been just going forward for the last 4 years now. I just had my 4-year anniversary here last week.
Wow. Time flies.
Really?
No, it's fantastic. And you've built an amazing team there. I've seen them in action, and it's great to see. And it's great. I know some of the students that you've hired that, met you at, either my festivals or, just going down for other events. And it's really wonderful that you're able to do that. So, all right, tell us, there's a lot of moving parts there. I know this, having been through it many times myself, and I think I know them all, but run us through all the different pieces there at Newport Vineyards that well, you touch everything, but, the winery part of it, not as much as the dining part of it, obviously, but still you touch everything.
Yeah. I mean, it's really, really unique to have a brewmaster, a winemaker, and a chef all under the same roof, and we're all like-minded. We all want to make great product out of great local ingredients, and we want to collaborate with each other. So that's the greatness of what we do here. And, we have a amazing winery. George and Michael, 2 winemakers. George, the head winemaker, has been here since, I think, the dirt was put here.
30 years, right? I mean,
yeah, he's going to be really angry with me when he hears that I said he's been here longer than the dirt, but he has. But he's still, I come along and I want to, collaborate with him, and we make a pumpkin cider and we collaborate there. So we have the winery going on. And then, just when this place was so awesome, John Nunes and Paul Nunes pulled Trisha, myself, and Cassandra in the office and say, it's going really well, and we had a good 2 years, but let's open a brewery. So they took a piece of, John literally took some tape and marked out the floor and said, "This is where I'm putting a brewery. You guys worry about the rest of the building." And we have a brewery now. And Kevin, our brewmaster, and John is, one of the head brewer here. We've been doing fun stuff with them, collaborating and making, pumpkin beer. And we made a strawberry beer and a peach beer. And we're getting all this produce from, Wishing Stone has brought us peaches and strawberries, and Quonset View, we did some stuff. And so we're doing beer together. And then, so those are just our beverage outlets. And then we have Taproot has a restaurant as well, which is our daytime lunch spot. Really cool sandwiches, charcuterie. I like to say we make sandwiches, we don't build them. Our pastrami sandwich is 21 days of work.
Right.
Curing the briskets from either Anne Marie at Blackbird, or we get from Walnut Lane some briskets. So we're curing our briskets and making the bread and making the mustard, and and that's just one item. And my crew and I went to Katz's at night after service and ate pastrami sandwiches and watched them and sat there all night, and then came home and said, "All right, we got to figure this out. Let's really make pastrami sandwiches." So we hand cut a pastrami sandwich, but we also make great bratwurst and pretzels and cheese boards in Taproot, which is, just so much fun to be able to have that food. And then upstairs in Brix is another restaurant we have, and that's our nighttime a la carte spot. That's where we really can play with the food. My favorite part of Brix is I think it shows a lot of the personality of the vineyard, where it's an everyday come in and get a burger and a beer, and it's $20 and you can eat here and it's affordable for everybody, and you can come in your flip-flops off the beach and be comfortable. But also, if you want to come in and have your anniversary and occasion and sit in a little corner table and have 8-course tasting menu and, and really have some incredibly well thought out food, we can do that as well and have a lot of fun with that. And we've had both of that going on at the same time, and everybody thrilled about it. So, Brix is a really unique, fun place to be, to cook food. And then we have our function facility where we also do weddings and private events and festivals. We do all kinds of festivals out in our meadow. We have an outdoor kitchen where we're servicing in the summer, street style food and live music. And, we do over 200 events a year, close to 50 weddings. And every single one of those is locally sourced and made here, from the bread to, every ounce of ingredient we can, make for every wedding is done right here. And we have a blast doing it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a gorgeous property. If anyone's not been, I highly recommend it. It's just a wonderful place to see and eat and drink. And what's great, I think, is I'm very much a big proponent of, I'm much more a wine person than a beer person, but I enjoy, beers. But either way, I enjoy both with food. And I'm not saying that there's right pairings, it's really up to people's palates, but you really run the gamut of trying to make all your food thoughtful to pair with the wines and the beers, and vice versa too. I think over time, the beers and the wines have not, I wouldn't say adapted, but they find themselves lending them more to what you're creating there.
Absolutely. I mean, I get to cheat a little because this whole wine line was here.
Right.
So in having the tasting room and having everything here, I can stop in and have a sip and taste something and back a dish into that. Instead of trying to figure out the wine for the dish, sometimes I go backwards and I go, all right, let's figure out a dish for this wine. And the same thing with the beer. We'll taste the beer as right off the tank. And then my mind starts going like, all right, what can I create to go with that? Whereas before, the traditional way was I would make a dish and then I'd go, all right, what wines go good with this? So we've been having a lot of fun just, doing that. And pairing the food with it. It's been, we try to now is with having both is so we create a dish and we go, all right, this beer goes with this dish and this wine goes with this dish, so that we can hit both sides of the spectrum of the wine drinkers and the beer drinkers.
Right. Exactly. No, it's smart. It's good. And it's great food. I mean, that's that's the bottom line, right? Now, people always talk about that, and it's and we're both Chefs Collaborative members. We talk about that, and we both work with a lot of great farms, but ultimately it's got to be delicious, right? If no one wants to eat it, it can be as locally sourced and as beautifully put together as possible. But it's got to be that bottom line, and you've got that in spades there. I mean, it's just it's amazing to see. So you talked a little bit about collaborating. Have you done much on the flip side and let George and Kevin, John, everyone into the kitchen, or is that's your domain?
I'll take suggestions. I collaborate a lot with Trisha Green, the food and beverage director. Trisha has a great food background.
Yeah.
And, so a lot of times we sit in my office and she just throws words at me like toast or mushroom, and then my brain starts going, and then and she'll we build dishes that way. I also collaborate a lot with my wife. My wife Emily is a fabulous cook, And a lot of times she makes something and she'll watch me and she goes, I know you're taking it apart in your head and you're trying to figure out what you're going to do with it at work. And so, yeah, and I bounce a lot of ideas off of her because my wife is not a foodie, which is great because it lets me appeal to the regular, instead of trying to just chase the foodie. There's not as many of those as there are people like my wife that just want to enjoy a good meal and not have to figure out what the hell it is.
Exactly.
So we've been, I do a lot of that with her, and I go, I show her a menu. I say, all right, what would you order? And she picks out like 8 things. I know I'm good, and I got everybody covered.
There you go. Yeah, I think that, it's always important to remember is there's lots of folks like us out there, but there's a lot more, who just want to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from the local aspect, I mean, I know you've worked with a lot of different folks, a lot of folks that like I said, that I work with. So I don't want to, be too specific and but what are some of your favorites out there? I mean, what are you seeing that you're getting that you couldn't get anywhere else, that you're really excited about that really, inspires you?
Well,
I know this time of year is a little different, but think about the whole year.
No. I mean, what's really interesting is I came to take a farm-to-table restaurant and, facility, property, and create it, and I didn't know a single farmer in Rhode Island. I didn't know anybody in Rhode Island. I knew I wanted to do it, and I had a list, and I met Jim Garman, who was my first farmer I ever met in Rhode Island. And Jim was just kind of starting out as well, breaking into the wholesale game. And we just started talking and collaborating. And then from there, I got to, learn about farmers and meet different farmers that start just showing up in my kitchen and saying, how do we get this on your plate? And my favorite thing about it all is being able to say, can you grow me this? Can you grow me, Jim grows me tarbe beans for cassoulet, and, different folks that grow me, micros or different greens I want, or beans, or anything I want. Sometimes I even ask for stuff that doesn't even grow around here. I'm just curious because that's not my department, that's theirs.
Right.
I sent someone pictures of these cold weather bananas that's supposed to grow. I said, can you grow these here? I don't know, maybe, we want to try everything. So I think I love the way the season changes. I love the ramp up of the summer. Tomatoes is our measuring stick for when it really starts for us. We actually said, are we going to be open, or are tomatoes going to come first this year? Like, what's happening?
Good question.
That's how we judge everything, is when tomatoes get here and when they leave.
What are you doing with asparagus so far? It's just starting to come out, huh?
Yeah, I mean, we're still, we're going to probably, Mother's Day, I got a nice Mother's Day salad going on, and we're doing some different things for Mother's Day on the grab and go. So we'll definitely get plenty of that in there. And we're going to try to do some things with some produce boxes.
Nice.
Because I have a commitment to these farmers as well. Before this started, we were ramping up for one of our biggest years ever. I think a lot of people were.
Yeah.
And the farmers, we start planning in January, and, December, I sit down with farmers and say, grow me this, this, and this. And we source seeds, and then they start. And, I'm so happy that retail world is helping the farmers so much. It's great to hear that. And we're going to try to do our part as well by maybe offering produce boxes at our curbside. We're doing curbside beer and wine and food, and it's been great. The support has been overwhelming. So if we could add that in and maybe mix a recipe into it and help people, with some produce, we're going to try to do that.
Yeah, no, I've been talking to a lot of farmers, and as you said, the retail side of it is up great. But I'm telling them, be cautious. This is it may not last forever. The retail side of it, people may fall back into old habits, or other things may happen. And unfortunately, as you know, the restaurant side is just not buying at the moment. So, hopefully see that picking up again soon. But it's definitely been some challenging times for, I think people forget that sometimes when we talk about the situation we're in, the ripples, is
Oh,
just amazing.
my two of my good friends are doctors, and you would think doctors, they are struggling because primary care physician, he has to see 15 patients a day to cover his nut. He's not doing that.
Right.
I mean, so you would think, the medical field is crushing it right now, but the primary care, my good friend's a pediatrician. They're looking at laying people off.
Yeah.
You would never think that, but it's because nobody's going, and there's a huge ripple effect all the way around. From the food and entertainment and some of the medical industry.
Well, entertainment aside, it's how far out have you had to postpone events?
I mean, we're going by what the governor says.
Yep.
Because it's so day to day, we don't know. We tell people right now. She's saying August for 50 people, maybe 100 people. Who knows? So we're just trying to play it by ear and figure it out. Who knows? Maybe drive-through weddings. Not just in Vegas, but in Newport Vineyards, maybe a thing.
Wow, I didn't think about that. That's very enterprising.
Car hop service and drive-through weddings, maybe a thing. You never know. Basically we have a game plan for every scenario already laid out, but we don't have all the answers. No. And when we get answers of can people hand us back silverware, then we know where we can go. Are we just going to be if people can eat on property, how do they do it? Is it all takeout? Is it all, the fortunate thing for us is we have the space outside. And me, I'm not opposed to building a fire and cooking something over it and, feeding a lot of people. It's just a matter of how we can safely do it for everybody.
Yeah. So with that, that's a nice segue. I want to show some pictures I've got here. And we could talk while they're on the screen. So you could tell us a little bit about what are we looking at here?
Oh, that's a small portion of our vineyard, and that's an aerial photo of a wonderful dinner we had outside in the meadow. That was quite the night.
It was a beautiful night. It was absolutely gorgeous. What an experience! Not only for the people sitting there and eating, but for all of us, I think, had an amazing experience. So yeah, those are the some of the vines. I think it's it's important to point out. Newport Vineyards is one of the largest farms in the state.
Yeah. Yep.
How many acres of grape vineyards are you up to now?
We're up to 60 acres of vines, just about 100 acres total. We're breaking into some produce now as well for us, for some estate-grown produce to services the restaurants. Mm-hmm. And yeah, we're constantly growing, for lack of a better term.
Right. And have you started down the growing vegetables path yet, or?
Yeah. We ran some test crops last year and went really well. So we're going to grow some of the non-specialties that we use a real lot of, cucumbers, squashes, some greens. When we're pickling here for the Taproot, it's astronomical how much produce we actually go through. So we're going to, grow some here as well.
Fantastic. So let's see if I can get the next image up here. There we go. Yeah. So tell us what you're doing there, because I love this. I had such a great experience photographing this event. It was a joy for me to see and watch you do all this. Tell us what you've got going on here.
So those are some beef ribs. Those are whole beef ribs from Anne-Marie at Blackbird Farm got us some of those, and I believe they also came from Cloverbud Ranch. Marty got us some of those. And what we did is we did a real slow cook on them, tied them up, and then we hung them over a fire and just lacquered them with veal reduction all day. Mm. So they were like long ribs that were just the most melt in your mouth. They were really fun to make and eat.
Yeah, they were spectacular. And you're also kind of become known as the king of the whole fish.
Yeah, I did this for Koshan Heritage Fire a couple years back over at Gurney's, and it was something I've never done with fish that big before. And we actually cooked one here on property over wood just to see if we could do it, and we in the wind because we were doing it on the water, and figured it out. So we started cooking 40-pound stripers whole over wood, stuffing them with herbs and plums and butter and anything else good we could get in there, tying them and just slow cooking them over fire. And came up with an interesting way of flipping them over with pizza peels because they get. Yeah, and it's just been something that everybody requests. We've done it for weddings. We've done it for a bunch of different things, cooking giant whole fish.
Wonderful, wonderful. And then, of course, our abundance of not just aquaculture here, but wild caught here too, is amazing. I mean, is there? I know it's kind of a loaded question, but do you have a particular favorite dish that you like making during summertime?
Summertime, I mean, honestly, I love roasting vegetables over the wood fire. I mean, my biggest childhood food memory is, so my grandfather and grandmother on my father's side, I'm a deer, and my grandfather was a chef and huge garden. And I'll never forget them cooking all the produce that they just picked in really like salty water, like the ocean, with just a lot of bay leaves that he picked off the tree and garlic, and then just pouring it onto the table and eating it with just some oil and butter, oil and salt, and just eating all that great vegetable and just letting it stand out, not trying to mask anything. And so that just it's so nostalgic to me when I get fresh produce and I can just simple cook it and let it stand on its own with, especially now we're getting Newport sea salt, so local salt. It's been really, that's what I enjoy. It's the produce that comes along.
Well, like you said, you're getting it straight from the farm. Many cases picked that morning, and you don't get any better than that. I mean, this corn here in this picture, when it's picked and you cook it, just simple like that over the wood fire. It's just, you can't beat it. Butter and salt. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, there's really nothing better. I tell all the kids, that work for me, when the produce comes in, smell it. Smell that. That's summer. That will bring you back to when you were a kid. If you walk through any garden as a kid or any farm stand, that is going to trigger a memory for you, and probably a great one. I know they do for me. So many food memories from all the smells, of the stuff that comes in.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So there's another view of that that amazing rig you built there. I mean, we should point out you put all that together yourself.
Yeah,
just some cinder blocks and wood and some rebar.
Yeah. So one of my team members is a gentleman that was a 35-year Navy captain.
Right. Yeah. Great guy.
And he was my very first intern from Johnson & Wales. And probably one of the most solid guys I've ever had on my team. Mike is, he's my logistics master. Anytime we do a pack out, I mean, what better guy? A guy used to pack for 15,000 troops, so he can handle us. But he's also crafty, so I have ideas and I have a little bit of craftiness to me. So him and I get together and we build these contraptions that we can cook over. My favorite part about that contraption is at the end of the night, at 11 o'clock at night, when that was all said and done, the only remnants that were left was the burn spot on the ground.
Right.
We took that whole thing to the Chef's Collaborative Barbecue. So we made that mobile. We can throw all that in a pickup truck and we can have a 8-foot by 4-foot fire pit anywhere we want.
Yes, I have a story I like to tell about this rig. Not this picture because this is from my flying camera, but I stepped up on the cinder blocks at one point to get a good shot, and of course, not thinking about it, they're not mortared together; they're just loose cinder blocks. So I tottered a little, and and you immediately were like, oh, well, I don't want to be known as the guy who killed Dave Dakian.
Yeah.
And I said, what was my response to you? My response was, well, if I had to go, falling into a fire pit with over smoked beef ribs would probably be the way I should go.
It would be the most appropriate way to go.
Exactly. But yeah, it's a beautiful rig and very inspiring, I'll tell you.
Oh, it was fun to build, and we really can't wait to break it out next year. Oh, this.
So there's that fish. I mean, just perfectly cooked, beautifully cooked.
Thank you.
All the veg and everything. Yeah, that was really a highlight of the evening. And I think, this aspect of it is kind of educational in a way. I think, I was going to say the audience, but the dining guests, but they are an audience, kind of, have gotten to the point where they want to see and learn all this. I mean, have you seen that a lot over the years?
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest things we do is the live demos in my kitchen, and we can only take in about 20 to 22 people. They sell out in record time because I think people want to learn about food. People are into food. Also, people want the lineage of their food. They love hearing, us chefs tell them where everything came from, and knowing that they went right up the road, that if they just went a little further up, that fish was caught not that far from here. And you would think there was a time where you would never think of taking that fish in the middle of a table of 50 that paid a lot of money to sit there and breaking it down in front of them. But that was probably the coolest part that everybody loved, was watching us break that down in front of them.
No, it's absolutely true. I mean, I've had, seen that growth at Blackbird Farm over the years, where I used to just, talk about, cuts to the point where, I could, take out a quarter or a primal and sort of cut it up and show people. And they, they want to know more. I mean, it's really great to see that evolution.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
I mean, I had a little bit of realization with this pandemic that's going on, and I was thinking that my industry is bulletproof. And then the pandemic happened, and I realized that, wow, I probably have the only industry that everybody knows how to do what I do at some point. At some level, everybody can cook something. Everybody on the planet. It's in your primal instinct. So
good point.
Yeah. So now it's a matter of showing people how to get better at that skill.
Right.
Is the next step for us, and what better way to do it than at these dinners where we're, if you look at this picture, the table where everybody's eating is literally right behind us. And these young ladies are plating and having a blast.
Well, that was why I picked this picture. I mean, you've got a great team, and I enjoyed watching them work together, which is, a testament to you. But also, they just all are so happy. Look at them all.
Yeah, I mean, and we were in it. Like that was we were grinding right there. That was an intense moment. But we're all having fun. My biggest thing here is, I have, it's a very young crew, and we work a lot of hours. The industry's known. It's what we do. But I want them to make it. I want them to not feel it, and I want them to be excited to do it again tomorrow.
Right.
So if we can have as much fun doing this and, being involved together, it makes it that much easier. And I also get to retain my staff longer. If they're all smiling like that all the time, they're going to stay with me longer, and we're going to get better together.
Exactly. No, very true. Yeah, no, it was a joy to watch. It really was. I grabbed this one, to show the size of the team, but also to show that guy on the left there.
Yeah, that's my 10-year-old, now 11-year-old son, Wade. That's the other thing we do is we brought our kids in to, myself and Trisha brought our kids in to help serve. The one thing about these farm dinners is everybody volunteers that works it.
Yeah.
And the reason we do that is not, to be cheap or anything like that. We try to pass the savings on to our guests. But also everybody that is working is there because they want to be there. There's nobody forced to be there. Everybody's there because they want to be there. They want to be a part of that. They want to experience what the guests are experiencing. And it's just as big of an experience for us as it is for the guests. My son still talks about it. He's like, "Dad, when are we doing another farm dinner?" He wants to do them at my house. You know, we built a fire pit during this whole pandemic, and we cut down a little tree and made a rotisserie. And I said, "Well, you know,
Sweet.
we're gonna build fires here, and we'll cook here."
Sweet. That's fantastic. I mean, I love to hear that. That's really great. So, and then one more here. Not only are you toasting marshmallows with a wood staff from a barrel, but here's your lovely wife that you talked about earlier.
Oh, she is my everything right there. That's Emily. My reason for everything I do pretty much now. Yeah, and we were toasting marshmallows with a wine barrel.
Yeah.
Stave. But yeah, Emily comes to the farm dinner. She likes to come to the farm dinners or the sit-down dinners. She doesn't like the festivals because they're busy and I don't have as much time. You know, when there's 1,000 people pulling at us, it's
right.
different. So she's like, "I'll stay away from those because you're just getting pulled in a million different directions." But the farm dinner, she likes to come and sit. And she's also heard me, you know, talking about the dishes and agonizing over the menu. So she likes to be there to support me through it when it's going down and get to, you know, see everything that's coming out of my mind when I'm waking her up at 3 a.m.
Right. To see all that come to fruition. Right. That's wonderful. So I grabbed this pick because I wanted to show and talk about a little bit more about the educational side of things and, you know, how you know, you do, I don't want to say everything. I mean, obviously there's certain ingredients, products like, you know, the sea salt you have to buy and things of that nature, but you do try to make, let me get back to us here. You do try to make as much yourself and do everything you can from scratch. So you were making some ricotta there, right?
Yeah, that was actually a demo for your festival, I believe. I was making some ricotta with some milk from Wright's Dairy. Yeah, we try to. You know, part of the kids that work for me is I tell them everything that is in a bag or a box, a chef put there at one point.
Mm-hmm.
So let's try to get there. And we do for a lot of it. Some things we attempt and go, no, there's a reason that, you know.
I've had those moments where I'll do something and, you know, 80 hours later, I'm like, you know, maybe I will buy this from someone a little more qualified than me.
Yeah, soba noodles was ours. We made soba noodles. We made them once and said, "Oh, there's a reason that, you know, you can buy them made." We made them. We did it. Said never again.
Yeah. No, I've had plenty of those moments, but hey, it's good. I think it's understanding the process is extraordinarily valuable because you can always apply that to other things.
Right. And, you know, being able to control, you know, I don't know if you heard, but us chefs are a little bit of controlling. So when we make it, I'm controlling every aspect of it. I can season it my way. I can, you know, get it to be where, you know, we want it to taste and not so much what, you know, dealing what we have to work with.
Right.
And, you know, and then it puts our stamp. I mean, Newport Vineyards is a brand. So the more we can, you know, stamp our brand in and make it ours, you know, the further we'll go.
And you cook, I mean, you know, you mentioned that as a brand. I mean, I know you've used some of the wine grapes, some of the spent grains. I know Colleen, you've mentioned, is used in the pastry or in the bread programs. Like what sort of things like that do you do you find good there?
We take the spent grain from the brewery and we use that in our crackers for our cheese boards. And Colleen has been putting it in our bread, in our baguettes, and in some of our different breads. One of the things I'm most proud of I didn't do. Colleen did on her own. Colleen is my pastry chef who I got right out of Johnson & Wales. She was still in school when I hired her. And her parents will kill me when they hear this. I said, "You don't have to finish school. You got the job. Come on." teasing her, but I took her right out of college and gave her one of the biggest pastry jobs in Rhode Island, and she's crushing it. But she went and harvested grapes from us out in the vineyard and took the natural yeast and created her own sourdough starter with our grapes. And she has it home and she's feeding it through this.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And so we have our own true sourdough that was started with our natural yeast here, which is really cool. We've fermented some of the wines into some vinegars. George loves it when I do that. I brought him a bottle of Riesling that I turned into vinegar, and I said, "Look what I did to your wine! I turned it into vinegar." And he said, "You don't get to tell a winemaker that." Right. But tasted it so delicious, and when he tasted it, he was really impressed. Because we took some of the peaches from Wishing Stone and the Riesling and made a vinegar. We try to utilize everything. When the Lando grapes come in, I always make a big batch of jam, and we make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and Taproot and all kinds of fun stuff. Everything we can possibly get our hands on, we're trying to turn into something else.
Yeah, I love that aspect of it. That's really exciting. It's nice to see. And I think that lends itself well to an organization that, we're both part of. We've got that great event every fall, and we're trying to put one on in April. We're going to get back to that. We will do that. I know, unfortunately, it had to get postponed, but we will get back to that. But the Chefs Collaborative organization, 22 or 2 years now, or going on. I've been part about 10 years. You've been part for many years now. I think that, organizations like that, the Beard Foundation, things like that, are really trying to help us through these times. So I think it's important to be part of it. What's been your experience? What are you thinking about when you think about Chefs Collaborative?
Well, Chefs Collaborative and the Beard Foundation have both been great with communication during this. I've been able to share so much to my team, even to the upper management team here at the Vineyard, just through my membership with the Beard and Collaborative, both respectively, webinars and that sort of thing. Chefs Collaborative has been great for me as a chef to learn. I mean, the education I've gotten out of it, especially coming in and taking over a farm to table program, building a farm to table program and not really knowing anyone. Chefs Collaborative put me in touch with some different chefs I could ask questions to throughout the country, not just in my region.
Right.
So, that was great to be able to have that resource. Composting was a great one. I, spoke to a chef in Florida. And just having all of that there, and then seeing other chefs doing it and seeing the struggles, but also the wins that happen with the farm to table sourcing and cooking, and and really having a place where all like-minded people are has been great.
Yeah.
And it's led me into working with you and Derek and Jake and Matt and a bunch of different chefs that I call friends now.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful in that aspect. That's absolutely the best part. I miss. I don't know if you. Trying to think. The last one was in Atlanta, but I don't think you haven't gone to one of the summits, have you? No, I've been to all but one, and they're really fantastic experiences because like you said, it's twofold. Here, we're very fortunate in Rhode Island. We all, can find each other and grab each other quickly if we want. But so when you go to a summit like that, it's amazing to meet all these people from around the country and learn and hear their experiences. But it's funny. I find, we go to Atlanta or New York or Seattle for these summits. We tend to, by nature, hang out kind of with our group that we came from. So I get more time, like Derek and I, we talk all the time. We text all the time, but they're like brief, quick, this and that conversations. Whereas we go to the summit, we get to hang out and have dinner for like a couple hours, So there is a beauty there that we don't often get when we're back here home hustling and working. But yeah, I certainly hope if there is one again someday soon, you'll join us because they're great experiences.
Yeah, I
They're
will
really,
definitely be
really
there.
great experiences. I certainly, yeah, you should. Uh, so what's on tap for I know I saw you with the ramen photos and
Yeah.
some pork belly. I mean, you're just always making something interesting and new there. What's inspiring you to come up with for, now in these times when you're kind of not cooking at home, obviously, but cooking for people to take it home.
Yeah. So my career has been pretty widespread, and one of the places I worked at when I was really young was a nutrition company that prepared food for you to reheat in your home, and it was fresh, scratch food, calorie based, and they would prepare. If you were on a 7 meal, 14 meal, or 21 meal program, we prepare.
Oh, uh, yeah, the mute jumped on there, Andy.
Sorry about
Nope,
that.
it's okay. It happens. So you're saying that on one of those programs?
Yeah, so I got to to experience that, and so when we went into what are we going to do for this now, the pandemic and curbside, I said I think the best thing, being in Middletown too, we don't have the traffic that
Right.
Providence has. We are in Middletown, we are on 100-acre farm.
Good point.
So but people are home planning, a lot of people are home planning all day, so I said, what if we just made one meal a day with really cool, complete with a dessert like you would make at home for your family, but totally reheatable. And let's have some fun with it. Let's, try to do recognizable food, but also food that maybe somebody wouldn't adventurously heat up in their home. And so we've been going through the gamut of stuff. And, first we went through our protein stores that we had. We were in the middle of winter, so we had been purchasing animals and breaking them down and, putting away, because spring usually in the farms is tough for sourcing. So we were planning on, having a tough sourcing spring anyway. So we had some
Right.
stores put up, with some lamb from Dawn and, and some different pork and beef and stuff. So we were already there. So we just started cooking food and making, roughly about 80 people's worth of food a day. Um, Served, sold in lots of 2 and 4. Um, and then added some cheese boards and some charcuterie and some pretzels and chili, like some daily stuff, some mac and cheese, but all cold. So you can, with heating instructions, so that you can just bring it home and heat it at your leisure and eat it when you want. And then we started pushing it. We did pad thai last week with dumplings and spring rolls, and it sold out like instantly. We started doing brunch every Sunday morning. You can pick up brunch and bring it home and pop it in your oven and have a cool brunch. And then we just started. Once we went through our stores after the first like week and a half, I said to the team I'm cooking with, is I have my executive sous chef and 2 cooks that live on, only 2 of my cooks that live on Aquidneck Island. So I have them here, and we all committed to quarantining when we leave so that we can keep this going and stay together. And I said, what do you guys want to cook? Now we can just create whatever we want and have fun with it. And
Nice.
so tonight is ramen. We got some pork belly from Anne Marie, and we did a nice chili glazed pork belly, some ramen, some dashi we made. We made a nice 3-day dashi broth out of, a bunch of pork. And Anne Marie messaged me and said she had some products she had to move out. So it was a match made in heaven. I got
Yeah.
to take the product off her hands and move it. We're making something cool. And it's pretty much a ramen kit tonight. So everything is separate. The noodles aren't cooked. Everything's separate,
Huh.
but cooked. So when you go home, you boil your dashi, you cook your noodles, then you can put in your radish, your soy egg, your pork belly. We made some of our own nori paper from scallions, so from wishing stones. So we dehydrated that, so you can put that in there, and you can build your own ramen bowl yourself whenever you want.
Sweet. That sounds fantastic.
Yeah, and it's been fun. Easter was gangbusters. We did 3 meals on Easter, and we, sold close to 500 meals. And my favorite part is seeing the posts of people saying what a great Easter dinner they got to have, and they had it all laid out on their dining room table. And we know we made somebody's life a little bit easier during this, and that's been
Absolutely.
really rewarding.
Yeah. No, that's wonderful. That's really great to hear. So I like to finish with a questionnaire that I've kind of hijacked from the old Inside the Actor Studio. I don't know if you ever watched that show.
Yep.
But it's a list of questions here. But before I jump into these questions, anything else you want to add or say before we close with these?
No, I mean, I can't thank everyone enough for the support we've been getting here at the Vineyard. I mean, nationally, we've been shipping wine all over the country.
Excellent.
Which has been really wonderful. I came in the first week and packaged wine before we knew if we were going to cook or not. And just seeing all the addresses all over the country has been great. We're going to continue to keep doing curbside and pushing it out and having some fun stuff. And hopefully, we're going to do a really cool Mother's Day. And we're just going to, just keep rolling with the punches and seeing what happens.
Well, I think that's it. I've been doing a lot of TV and radio interviews, and people say, chefs are very nimble, restaurants are very nimble, and that's very true. I mean, you're adaptable. You go with it.
Yeah, I mean, I worked for a chef when I was young who said to me, and it was one of the best pieces of advice I ever got. He said, "A restaurant is a living, breathing thing. If you're not willing to grow and change with it, it will swallow you alive." And this is another role. It's we got to keep it living and breathing. So let's figure out how to keep it fed. And that's what we're doing.
Absolutely, and I know we will here. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, here we go. What is your favorite word?
Oh, right now. Everything's 100 million trillion. Everything is so probably trillion. Trillion is my favorite word right now.
Right. What is your least favorite word?
My least favorite word. No.
Good one. What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
Creatively, it's hearing someone say that was the best thing they ever ate. I know at the moment it's true,
right?
But but I like to look at it and say, well, that person's 40 years old. They ate 3 meals a day for the last 40 years. I'll take that. Spiritually and emotionally is my wife. She is my spiritual rock. She teaches yoga and meditates and is all the opposite of me, which keeps me grounded and keeps me where I need to be.
Oh, I understand. Yeah. What turns you off?
Laziness.
Mm. What is your favorite curse word?
Fuck.
That seems to be the popular consensus. Yeah, just shouting that out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's usually a what the before.
Yeah, well, yeah. What sound or noise do you love?
I like the sound of silence. I like when I'm in the house at 3 a.m. and I hear nothing. It's very peaceful.
What sound or noise do you hate?
The timer.
What is your favorite ingredient?
Pork.
Solid choice. Solid choice. What is your least favorite ingredient?
Broccoli.
Ah, all right. Interesting. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
I would be in the protection field.
All right. What profession would you not like to do?
Oh, geez. There's a lot of them. I wouldn't like to be a police officer. I think that's a hard job and scares the hell out of me. That's one I don't think I would like to do.
Yeah, good point. And if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Nice work.
Well, thank you very much, sir. This has been a treat. It's always great to talk with you and catch up. I hope lots of folks gain some more insight into what you're doing there at Newport Vineyards, because it really is pretty wonderful, pretty spectacular.
Thank you, Dave. I really appreciate you reaching out and doing this. This has been a treat, and I love speaking with you. It's nice to have speak with people that love food and love what we do, and just want to keep pushing it forward, as I like to say.
Yeah, yeah, you do, sir. Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you. Stay well.